Posthumous releases can be tricky. Daze did it a couple years ago with their album Amends, which, even though it's a studio album, it was a lot of songs that they had from back in the day that they remixed. And if you don't know who Daze is, this was former Linkin Park lead singer Chester Bennington's first band, and kind of in between Linkin Park albums, Chester Bennington was working with Daze as they were having this reunion, and they were finally completing some of their songs and putting them into this full album. And tragically, he would pass away while they were doing this, but they knew that he wanted to get the album done, and with blessing from his family, they would still use the audio tracks that were recorded for that album session, and they put that album out. And it was a really good record. I feel like the atmosphere they were going for, where it's the more kind of like, how do I put it, melancholy kind of songs, where like you can definitely tell they're sad and distressed songs, whereas we get this new album, The Phoenix, and it's different, but I'm kind of have a personal problem with this one still, because I feel like Amends was supposed to be this tribute to Chester. It did what it had to do, and it worked perfectly. Now with The Phoenix, it just feels like they're pushing it so much. There was more, apparently, unfinished audio they had with Chester Bennington, and I guess they thought that, they could make another album worth material, and they had 10 songs here. I mean, it starts off good. Saturation, Strange Love, and Starting to Fly come off more heavier than the tracks on Amends do. Like, this is actually more angrier Daze, I can say that much, at least for most of these songs. But then after that, it really becomes hit or miss. It really, really does, as I guess I still like Holding You, Whole, and Drag. They kind of do their thing. But then the rest of these songs, Be Your Man, Anything, Anything, and Wake Me, were just kind of okay, and Believe Me and Spin were probably the two weakest, because I think it was Believe Me, Chester's vocals just didn't sound up to par. They felt very messed with and electronic. Not that they haven't, in Linkin Park, they hadn't done that with Chester. Even on Amends' recent record, they did it on it a little bit too, his voice. But with that, whenever his voice is usually tampered with, it's always like a background kind of vocal. But on the song Believe Me, it was just very noticeable that they were using it for his lead vocals, and it just really sounded off. And a lot of the instrumentation too got a little too generic at some point in time. I guess the features were okay. I mean, I say features because Dave Navarro and Richard Patrick, they just kind of came on and played guitars, as Dave Navarro played guitar on Holding You, had a nice solo, and Believe Me had Richard Patrick on it. And even the song Whole, Chester's daughters, Lily and Lila, get features on it, because you hear them right at the beginning, so I thought that was a cool little, thing to put in there. But other than that, they don't really serve a whole lot of purpose, I guess, other than to say, hey, we got some features on here. And again, there's no problem with that, but, it didn't really feel like they were there a whole lot. It just felt like, oh, okay, there they are. Oh, okay, that's it. Alright, bye-bye. You're not gonna be on the rest of the song. That's cool, that's cool. And I don't really know. At times where Chester's vocals are up, by the next song they just go down, and it's me not saying that it was like terrible vocals. I know I've heard better from Chester. It didn't feel like the tribute that the last one was, and it just kind of felt like let's grave dig now at this point. We still have these audio clips, and we can still use Chester's name, and that's where I think it starts getting a little disrespectful in a way. I definitely back them up on the release of Amends, because I'm like, well, they got permission from his family, he wanted it finished, and it's a tribute to him. Therefore, that's one of those posthumous releases where it's like, okay, go ahead and do it. But with this, at this point, I'm just kind of like, you're beating a dead horse, and it serves no purpose at this point. Like, I just don't understand, other than, okay, now it's starting to really feel like they're just using his name to, gain off of it, and that's where it becomes a little bit problematic. This is definitely a step down from Amends. I'll give it a 50-50, 5 out of 10, but that's really the best I can do. I feel like Amends had a lot more to like about it, whereas The Phoenix, other than a couple of really good tracks, the rest just felt forced and generic and not really all that interesting at all, even though there was still some really, really good Chester vocals. They just couldn't really save a whole lot of the songs in general. So yeah, that's my take on this record. You can tell me in the comments below, what did you think? And until then, stay safe out there, wear your mask, get vaccinated, and I will catch you all in the next one.